We now know where the final road poneglyph is. Sort of. We know it existed before. But with recent informations, we now know that this final hunk. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam, and Weekly Shonen Jump is releasing a series of these teeny tiny booklets called The Road to Already Know. However, this first booklet did contain one super important note. This information is fascinating, shocking, enlightening, and various other than ever. By the way, this funky stone was actually drawn by one of our amazing channel artists. Requested Frankie as a toaster, and that is exactly what they got, along with some delicious. Need to be subscribed because YouTube shows me this little funky little red dot thing next to your name. It's becoming part of Grand Line Review history. Alright, quick Poneglyph recap. Because just like Big Mom and Kaido after a night of passionate Yonko level love poneglyphs in this world, they serve a variety of purposes such as retelling Losty from a certain Joy Boy. Now within these 30 poneglyphs, 9 are dubbed as the real history of the world, including all of the scandalous events of the Void Century. When discovering this history was, he laughed, but a whopping 17 of road poneglyphs are the stone equivalent of stumbling upon a shiny in Pokemon game slapped together by some sort of historian with a macabre sense of humor, then they will we're not subtle about this. The first road poneglyph we encountered was on the Batman Island, and the fourth is allegedly possessed by the one and only true fishman things. To get some confusion out of the way, there's a common misconception that Big Mom Gushi did take over Fishman Island during the time skip. However, our Giga Granny has a pirate equivalent of saying, "Hey, what's that behind you?" and quickly take a rubbing off now Kaido's stone, but it's very unlikely, mostly because of clear to answer. But the overwhelming possibility is that this Fishman Island road poneglyph location cited is the classic one that most fans tend to point to right in Slated Nation. They don't really participate in all of the boring and political, it's unlikely to spread too far. Secondly, even if that information was known, power on the planet. Elbaf has quite literally been referred to as the strongest. Think of the word giant without slightly soiling themselves. To be fair, that may keep something like this safe. We are, however, missing a giant piece of glorified paperweight, and this is often where the name Shanks will come up, even though we haven't explored Elbaf yet, and we don't know much about Shanks yet, so let's attains a red cube or not, we will almost certainly be visiting there in the future. Meanwhile, is Vera. And I know what you're gonna say, what the crap is Vera missing? Which I imagine is going to make this section slightly painful for my editor, sorry. Mind brain of Echiro Oda. The first mention of this was in chapter 96. The thing she reads is that the kingdom of Vera had recently been subject to a coup d'etat and go on to be mentioned a second time. And not only that, but it would be mentioned again by now. Dated 400 years ago, tells of Noland and his crew setting sail from the confronted Oda about this in the SBS of volume 25, which funnily enough, oh, well spotted. 400 years ago when Noland visited, but it's not really so much what's happening in Vera as what's happening all around the country in the Grand Line. So hold off on your sightseeing trips. So Oda, you'll see, wink. One thing I do like about this possibility is being so focused on attacking them. However, the idea, rather unfortunately, found them. Which, and I mean, unless she's engaging in the finest acting of all time when Kingdom for Nami to have heard of it, but it's also small enough to not really be a... And that's actually really good news, because that narrows down our list of options from this many is Hachinosu, also known as Beehive Island or Full of Lead Island for combat bullets, pew pew pew. Hence why it's called Full of Lead in English, as in full of lead, as well as where the Rocks Pirates originally formed, and most importantly of all, it's often described in the series and its accompanying materials as the most pirate stuff. And there's a decent logical flow here as well, because prior to Blackbeard inherited Hector of Fishman Island, where the final road poneglyph originally was. So I'd be sports it to Hachinosu, thus forcing an even greater stalemate of power, because of other possibilities such as why Marco is currently on Wano. For example, has no clue where the last one is, and then Marco just goes, oh, just as it is, he's cool, I like pineapples, I like birds, I like them together, but Blackbeard as well, which is to actually give our main antagonist a chance in this fight, about as low as the chances of his shower ever being turned on. And this is purely in true pirate style, they decide to engage in a Davy back fight for the pond to be brought back into things. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of that is because I just love perfect.